We'll start. All right, so this is Google Classroom. When you drop into Google Classroom as an instructor, some of these items will be pre-populated for you to simplify your use of the tool. First, a quick tour of how Google Classroom works in its pieces and parts. When you drop into a classroom, you're dropped into what's called the stream. This is very simple, similar to a Facebook feed kind of situation, where as things are happening, they kind of pop up here. And so this is kind of a real-time update. As assignments are created, as people post, reply, respond, this stream will update with that information. If there's something here that you want to push up to the top, you as the instructor can go right here, hit these dots and say move to top, and push it to the top of somebody's stream. So that way it always sits up there. So if there's something that maybe you're reviewing from a while ago, right, you can take that item, take it and move it to the top, and it'll push it to the top of the stream, even though it's an older item. It will still get pushed down further as more stuff is added. So it's not a pin to top. It's just a move it to the top for right now. So you might do this just before class or just after class to highlight some particular item or piece. The other thing to be mindful of here is this header section, which gives you some things that you'll use pretty regularly. As students try to join the class, you're going to need to give them a class code. They're going to go to classroom.google.com, and there's an option up in the top right for them to join or create a class. They'll select join, and then they'll need this class code to be able to join in. This class code is specific to your section, so you don't want to use this one here. In your cohort's Google Classroom, you'll see a class code in the same position, and you just hit this little box here to pop it up. So if I'm screen sharing and want folks to be able to see it, or if I want to copy and paste it, I can go right there, copy it, paste it into an email, paste it into a text message, or what have you. The other thing is the Google Meet link. Every Google Classroom has a standing Google Meet link that's attached to that cohort. So when you click that, that's going to open up Google Meet. So this is a quick way for everybody to get into the Google Meet, even if they don't have the link in email or something like that. It's always in one spot. So that's basically the homepage when you drop into Google Classroom. From there, I'm going to skip Classwork for a quick second and go to People. This is a way to see who is signed up for Google Classroom. So if you're comparing your attendance roster to who's in here, you can then see, has somebody not registered with Google Classroom? Is there somebody who needs some help? And so you'll see students, those are the folks who are participants, and then you're going to see teachers. Teachers is going to be the SE team, plus yourself, the instructor, and the site monitor. And so teachers have access to create, move, and adjust whatever. Students, much like you would imagine in a school setting, students have access to their stuff, to groups that you create for them. Theirs is a more guided experience. Then we go to grades. Grades is a little bit in air quotes here, right? We're not grading people A, B, C, D, but we are keeping track of assignments and homework turn-ins. And this is how you'll be able to review what work somebody has turned in, if they have a missing assignment or something like that, right? Assignments will start to fill in across here, and then you'll be able to say they turned it in, you checked it and turned it back. That's what that check means. It means it's been returned to them. And so this is a quick at a glance, how's everybody doing on the homework, who's missing. If you then want to drill down for a particular student, you can click on their name and you'll see an assignment turned in, an assignment handed back. And this will vary depending on the kind of assignment. When you see this comment and a paperclip, that means that they had a full-on assignment where they completed some document and returned it. And then that comment means that you commented on that assignment. You can also use assignments to pass out things like Google Forms, surveys, that kind of stuff. And if you just want to track that somebody completed, you'll get a turned in by creating it a certain way. They complete it, they mark it as turned in, but there won't be any attached work, right? So this is just kind of recording they completed, they say they completed the form or whatever offsite tool there is. When I go into view details, I go into view details for an assignment. I can also then see what my comments were, if they replied back. And so I can see details around that assignment and then ultimately click on this to go see the assignment that they handed in themselves. So Classwork is where most of the business of Google Classroom is going to happen. These topics, you'll see administrative stuff, week 1 introduction, those are created as we create assignments. So as we create week 2 through 12 going down, you'll see additional work under those headings. So where we have these as headings, Google calls those topics. And so over here to the left, you'll see a topic for administrative stuff, a topic for week 1 introduction, and that will sort of create a shortcut. As this list gets really long, you know, if I'm in week 10, I'll be able to click here and it'll drop me down to week 10 so I can see that work. Again, a shortcut to the Google Meet, a shortcut to Google Calendar. This is where people can go to see when is work due and kind of get a mapping for kind of how things are playing out over the course of the over the duration of the course. And then Class Drive folder is where you'll go to see all of the work kind of collated together from a teacher view. To create a new material or assignment or whatever, the assignments will be pre-populated for you, so the homeworks will be in here for you. But if you want to post a new material, post a quick link, I can say material, I can give it a title, give it a description, and then I can add a number of things. I can add something that sits in Google Drive. That could be a PDF. That could be a PowerPoint slide deck. That could be any number of things where I want to give them the source file. I can add a link to somewhere. I can attach a file outside of Google Drive. So if I just have a file sitting on my laptop or on my computer, I can add that file directly without having to put it in the Google Drive first. And then YouTube, they've got a link for YouTube specifically. And so if I were to just make this a link to YouTube itself, to the front page, and search, it'll search and try to find that YouTube video and come up with some very interesting options. We're going to pick the duck song and we're going to add that. And so I can search for a video on YouTube, or if I have the link already, I can paste that in. And then for a topic, I've already got the administrative stuff and week 1 introduction created. So say I want this to be a part of week 1, I can do that. I can say who it's available to, all students or some subset. And then I can post that material. And now I see here YouTube sample video. When I click on it, it'll drop down. It'll show me that description and then the video itself. If you paste a video in like this, when somebody clicks on it, it will pop up right there. It won't take them off site. It'll just pop up right here. And it'll play right in the window. They can click anywhere in the black space and come right back. So that's a nice way if you've got a quick YouTube video that you want folks to view during the session. It's a quick way for them to drop in, see it without being taken off site. If I want to create a quick question, you might use this to do a poll. You might use this to do some quick short answer. You might use it as an exit slip. Some teachers like to call it, to say, what's the one takeaway, right? And so I might say something like, what is cash flow, right? I'm doing that. And then I can say, how do they respond? I can give a multiple choice. Or I can make it a short answer and have them write a description. In most things, you're going to make them ungraded. Then when you go to assign a due date, you can set a date and a time. It always defaults to 11:59, but you can make that whatever you want. And then again, topic, this is where it's going to show up in that list. So I can make this week 1 as well. And then you'll see an option for students can reply to each other or students can edit their answer. Depending on the topic, you may or may not want to turn that on or off. And then same thing with edit. You can choose how you want that to go. And then again, I can pick which students I assign that to and then ask that question. Right, so I've got the what is cash flow, I've got that sample video. Now, if you remember, I said the stream is kind of a real-time update as things are created. So I'm a new student. When I drop in, I'll see this material was posted, this question was asked. So as you're creating and adding stuff, this stream will update. And again, that thing that I pushed to the top got pushed down because I added these items on top of it. That's the short tour. Once you dig in a little more on assigning homework and returning homework, that's when things become a little more complicated. So homework one, right? If I go into homework one, which has already been created, we've had some people pre-populate this for us. I can view the assignment. And when I go into here, it drops me in to show me for this assignment, how many people turned it in, how many people was assigned to, how many people have returned it to me, right? I'm sorry, have I returned it back to them? So turned in is they completed it, marked it as complete. Assigned is how many people that I passed it out to in the first place. And then returned is how many people have I commented and then turned it back to them, right? So if I look at work that's been turned, it's been returned, this one gives you kind of a full view, right? And so I can see Ashley has partially completed items for the first section, gave us the classic because answer for why do people need or want something. And this was just a sample, but they would go in here and fill things out. You as the instructor can go in and maybe you see a piece and you want to comment on it. I can take that piece, insert a comment directly, and comment on that. And then I can also give a global comment here and post that. And so they can, when the student comes in, they'll be able to see a view that says specific to the content where there's a comment, and then overall, how you felt they did, right? So this way you can do the good job, great effort, that kind of thing here, and then be a little more specific in these pieces about the actual content. This view also is how you look at multiple students' work. So you'll notice this little pane here is Google Sheets, and then it's been kind of wrapped with these additional pieces from Google Classroom. So from right here, I can jump to another student's assignment. So this is as I'm going through my weekly homework check. Instead of having to bounce around to a bunch of docs, I can kind of do it all in here. And so again, I can go here, add a comment, and then also do a global comment. Then I can take that and return it to just this student. Or if I'm returning all of the work, I can go there and say return to everybody, return multiple submissions, right? These folks have it assigned but haven't done it yet. And I know that because it says assigned, it doesn't say turned in. And so this status, right, when it says sort by status, I can then see stuff that I've handed back, stuff that was assigned, and then if somebody has turned it in and I haven't graded it, then I'll see it say turned in. This opened me up in another tab, so I can close this tab here and get back to Google Classroom. Google Classroom will pop multiple tabs as you start working, so you'll get used to those things showing up and going away. But in general, you'll see this little icon here, which is kind of like a square box with a anthropomorphic avatar, as they like to call it. So that's how you know where your Google Classroom tab is located. All right, ladies, I'm going to stop recording on that or pause. All right, so I'm resuming the recording. To get started, you're going to go to classroom.google.com. You should have received an invite in your Gmail account or in your email account inviting you to be an instructor in Google Classroom. So you have to accept that invite first. That may or may not drop you into the classroom automatically, but you can always go to classroom.google.com. And then when you land here as a teacher, you're going to see the cohort that you have access to here. You can click that and it'll drop you into Google Classroom. Your students will come here and there'll be an arrow pointing to this plus button. They can go here and say join class, and then they're going to use the class code from your class to be able to join and become a student in your classroom. So once you go into Google Classroom, you'll go here, and that class code that they use to join is right here. This is going to be specific to your section, so you won't use this one here. When you go to classroom.google.com and then go into your classroom, you'll see a class code. If you hit that little box, it pops it up so that you can see it. And then that's also able to be copied and pasted into an email or some other mechanism if you want to communicate that out to your students.